Hi guys, Dr. Ryan here, and here is video number 4. And video number 4 is all about the big idea. Now, what is the big idea? Well, the big idea is basically the principle of chiropractic care. And what it is how your body functions, how it works, and why it breaks down. Now, the number one thing we have to go over, the most important, is the master controller. So what part of your body is the master controller? What part controls every other part? So for your heart to beat, for your lungs to breathe, to digest food, to make babies, for everything to occur in your body, what is the control of that? Well, it is the brain, right? So your brain sends messages down your spinal cord and out these nerves. And every organ, every tissue, every cell requires 100% of that life flow without interference. Does that make sense? Pretty simple, right? And what happens is that when you get interference, that's what the cause of degeneration and problems and disease process is. So the most extreme example, if someone came along and they cut your head off, what would happen to every single cell in your body? Well, they would stop, right? It wouldn't function, you'd be dead. Or what if someone came along and they cut the nerves off to your heart? What would happen to your heart? Would that heart function better or worse? Well, it would stop, wouldn't it? So if someone came, instead of cutting the nerves, if they were to put pressure, and they were to interfere with that communication between your brain and your heart, what's going to happen? Will that heart function better or worse? Well, it'll function worse. And that is called dysfunction. And over time, what that leads to is what's called a disease process. Okay? Now, what can cause interference between your brain and your body? Well, what happens is you have your spine. Now, your spine is designed to protect your nervous system, okay? So naturally, you have these 3 curves from your side, and it should be nice and straight down from the rear like this. If you have this, you're gonna have a nice, strong structure, 100% resilient to gravity. You're gonna have great posture, you're gonna have great mobility, but the most important thing your spine does is it protects your nervous system, okay? Now, if your spine is where it's supposed to be, and everything's functioning and moving the way it should, you're gonna have 0 interference. But the problem is if people start to get out of alignment, a couple of falls and slips, car accidents, sporting injuries. But the biggest thing nowadays, guys, is people's day-to-day living. People are sitting nonstop, they're driving to and from work, they're sitting at work, they're sitting at lunch with their friends. And every moment in between all those periods of sitting, guess what they have in their hands? It's a cell phone. That's called text neck. Now the problem is with these bangs and bruises and falls and slips and sitting for long periods of time, instead of having these nice curvatures from the side, and straight down from the rear, over time people's spines start to shift out of alignment. And what happens? That causes immobility of your spine. So your spine's not moving the way it should. And that is what's causing pressure on nervous system. As you learned on your doctor's report, we call that a subluxation. So anytime your spine is out of alignment and instead of protecting, it's putting a pressure on your nervous system, that is what's called a subluxation. So when you have a subluxation on your nervous system, it's going to interfere anywhere that nerve is going to. So if I have pressure on your brainstem area, or if you have pressure on your brainstem area, that can cause things like vertigo, balance issues. You can have headaches, sinus issues, pain in the base of your skull. Another common example is when people have subluxation at the base of their neck. They may have symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome, asthma, allergies, knots in their shoulders. You may have subluxation down your mid-back area, putting pressure on the nerves going to your spleen. Now that's control of your immune system. So quite often, one of our favorite testimonies when patients go through care in our office, of course, January rolls around. That's what season is that? It's called the flu season. One of our favorite things that we hear so often in our office is that a lot of our patients, their whole entire workforce that they're working with, all their friends and coworkers are getting sick and getting the flu, but they are not. And why is that? Because they have proper function and alignment, no pressure on the nerves to their spleen, so they have an optimal functioning immune system, right? We also see patients with their spines out of alignment down here, causing pressure on the nerves going to their gut, their intestines, poor digestion, and some of our other favorite testimonies are patients that have things like reproductive issues as well. So the big idea here, guys, is that your body is meant to thrive, not just survive. And if you have 0 pressure on your nervous system, and you have an ideal alignment on your spine, you're going to have 0 interference with the function of your body, and you're going to live to your full potential. So when you're going through care in our office, our goal is, yes, to start to bring these bones back into regular alignments, to take pressure off your nervous system, because obviously we want those symptoms to decrease, but the ultimate goal is 5, 10, 30 years down the road, guys, you have 0 interference between your brain and your body, and your body is able to function the way it's meant to, and you are thriving throughout your life and enjoying the things you're meant to live. So that is video number 4, guys. I'm excited for video number 5 to come up next. Thank you.